Do what you wanna do and live in color. Oh. Alright, we're recording. Why is it that my hair always looks crappy? Okay, I saw the Avengers, and it was super, super awesome. I loved Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch because those were two people who I never really thought I would see in this air. I really, really loved them. They were super dope and pretty cool. So I was thinking to myself, hey, how about I do something with super duos or teams that I would like to see in, the actual movies? So, this is what this list is about. If you like the list, I guess tell me what you think. Nebula says you should like this video, by the way. Anyhow, to start off, at number one, we have a duo that is from DC Comics. I didn't split this into Marvel, DC. I just tried to keep it together. We have the team of Shining Knight and Vigilante. Yeah, I'm betting everyone who actually likes comics is like, who are these guys? I've never seen them. The first time I've ever seen them, and pretty much the last time, was Justice League Unlimited. Justice League Unlimited had pretty much a host of DC comic characters that I had never heard of or never seen. And they threw them out for one episode, 2 episodes, whatever. And Shining Knight and Vigilante were a duo that was pretty dope. One's an Old West cowboy and the other's a knight. How could it not be fun with them living in these modern times? Yeah, you see, Vigilante's whole shtick was pretty much cowboy in today. You went back, you grabbed John Wayne, bring him in today, and put him into situations that involved, well, aliens, supervillains. It was actually really interesting. It was kind of refreshing. Yeah, he uses guns, which I'm guessing is one of the reasons why he's not used often. But I really would like to see him. You see, the whole thing was he held his own with superheroes like Green Arrow. Yeah, pretty much the guys who were lower on the totem pole. But it was really interesting to see this cowboy getting along and teaming up with people. Every once in a while saying yeehaw, because he had to. Also, a part of that involved his very, very interesting conversations with Shining Knight. Shining Knight essentially is one of the Arthurian knights of legend. He was taken from that period and he was put into this period. And the cool thing was, he still kept doing his knightly duties. He was still a hero. He decided to fight the general, Wade Elling, I think his name is. And that was probably one of the episodes of Justice League that made me love these two. You see, in the previous picture, you saw Vigilante and Green Arrow. They were getting ready to, I guess, provide covering fire on the general. Now, there's something interesting when you have a superhero who knows that they don't have the powers to beat people, but still goes out and tries to protect people. Shining Knight has a magic sword, magic armor, and he has a magic horse. That's it. And he went to go fight a dude who can go toe-to-toe with Superman. Well, needless to say, he got wrecked. He got beaten up, bruised, and otherwise abused, and the only reason he's still alive at the end of the episode is because the people who really weren't that happy to see them defended them against the general. They said, hey, you're going to have to kill us if you want to kill him. And that was super interesting. I mean, okay, let's be real. Batman, I feel like, is never at a disadvantage anymore. I just don't care. He never has a disadvantage. Vigilante and Shining Knight, they got what? Vigilante has a motorcycle and guns. Shining Knight has a sword, some armor, and a horse. Batman has billions and jillions of dollars and ridiculous training. So he can pretty much take on anything. But these two guys were just heroes. The team up was pretty interesting because you have the aesthetic of an old world knight with kind of, I guess you could say, a new aged, well, not really terribly new aged gunslinger. And their conversations were interesting. Every once in a while, they got on each other's nerves, but at the end of the day, they were two dudes who were trying to save the world with what little power that they had. Also, come on, a dude from Arthurian legends coming to present day and having to deal with stuff like, oh, I don't know, TV, movies, all that's pretty cool. Kind of like Thor, IHOP, ring any bells? All right, off to number 4. It is Dagger and Cloak. You see, the two of them, I'll just say Cloak and Dagger, that feels better off the tongue. The two of them were very, very interesting. You see, Cloak was a young boy who had a speech impediment. Because of his speech impediment, he was not able to warn police officers of the fact that his friend was not armed, was not dangerous, and didn't do anything. Because of that, his friend died. Feeling that he had failed himself, his family, and his community, Cloak ran away from home. He was a teenager, and yeah, he managed to escape to New York. He did that, and of course, he was hungry, he was starving. On the other half of the coin, Tandy, who was very, very, very rich, had a very rich family, very rich upbringing, but was still, she didn't feel like she fit in with her family. She wasn't taken care of, and she never really felt like anyone cared about her. So she also ran away. The two of them had a very, very fateful meeting in New York when Cloak decided to not steal her purse and help save her after someone tried to mug her for her purse. It was a very interesting meeting, and from then on, they were fast friends. You see, my first, actual time seeing the two of these characters was in a game called Maximum Carnage for the Super Nintendo, yeah. And in it, I got to see Cloak's amazing power to teleport and hide people within the shadows and move them and use his cloak to attack people, and Dagger to use her light daggers, which was really cool, even though they only showed up to stop Carnage from killing Spider-Man. It was pretty dope, though. You see, Cloak, despite, well, I feel like his costume at some points is ridiculously powerful with the whole teleporting pretty much anywhere he wants, I say. He's ridiculously powerful. And he's also ridiculously loyal to Dagger. The two of them are best friends, and they're pretty much always attached at the hip. I wonder... Yeah, Dagger has a very, very interesting costume, but you know what? It's all good because the two of them make this really, really awesome couple. Now, the only question is whether or not our boy Cloak will ever be able to tell Dagger that he loves her. Hey, number 3, Huntress and Black Canary. Come on, you know you want to see a movie with these two. You know you want to see it, you know you want to hear it, and I don't want to know what you might also do. The two of them are very, very interesting because they spend a lot of their time teamed up on the birds of prey. You see, Black Canary is basically someone who's been out there for a very, very long time, and she's been fighting villains for, a decent amount of time. Her mother was very big into it. Huntress, on the other hand, was not. Huntress kind of fell into the life. She let her anger take hold. Her family was killed by a mob boss. So she grew up with all this anger, all this hatred, and eventually she decided to take to the streets like Batman, but in not as nice of a way. She was... Okay, think about it like this. If Batman comes up to you and he tells you you're being a little too violent, yeah, that's pretty bad. But the cool thing is, you have the hothead, you have someone with a calmer demeanor, teaming up, working together, and kind of like working off of each other and teaching each other. It's super cool to see, and it's awesome to read. I'm just hoping that, considering the fact that they're both coming out in the Arrow on the TV show. Who knows? Maybe we'll get a Birds of Prey movie with just the two of them. It would be pretty dope and really interesting. All right. Next is a very, very little known team. At number 2, we have Big Barda and Mr. Miracle. Now, you see, this is another team that I was very, very interested in Justice League, the Justice League Unlimited. They were super amazing, very, very interesting. You see, Scott is actually from Apocalypse. Well, that's pretty much where he was found. As a child, he was raised, well, if you could say it, by Darkseid and Granny Goodness. He has the very, very unique ability of pretty much being able to escape from anything. And of course, that involved Granny Goodness and Apocalypse pushing him. You know, like locking him in a room that consistently got smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller until it got to the point where it almost crushed him. And then he would magically use his powers to escape. It kept getting harder and harder and harder and harder until Scott just was able to do it. He was just able to become this amazing escape artist. And of course, well, when you do that, the whole thing about it is it's kind of hard to keep an escape artist contained after they've gotten, 25 years, 24, give or take, of ridiculous abuse in a lockdown facility. Yeah, he got out. Now, the cool thing is, the person who was sent to go catch him wound up falling in love with him. I'm talking about his wife, Big Barda. You see, Big Barda is another one of Granny Goodness's oh so interesting children. She basically raised Big Barda to become a warrior. And that's pretty much what she is. She was the head of the Female Furies, and they were basically Darkseid's shock troops. They got sent in and destroyed everything. She really doesn't have a problem with getting into ridiculous fights, underwhelmed, and pretty much coming out on top. She's sparred with Wonder Woman on many, many occasions, and she's known to work with the Birds of Prey every once in a while. Hey, I mean, you can see the picture. She's got bullets in her thigh, bullets in her abdomen, but she's just smiling, all relaxed, because she's all done it before. She loves battle, and it's just another day to her. All right, now here's the number one team that I kind of want to see in the movies. It is the team of Luke Cage, Power Man, and Iron Fist, Danny Rand. Yo, I love the two of these people together. Well, Luke Cage is essentially now in Daredevil, the Netflix animated series. And that gives me like hope, cross your fingers, that Danny will show up too. Oh my god, I want to see it so much. I just want to see them fight ninjas. You see, Luke Cage, while in jail, went through a very, very interesting test. They basically Achillesed him, and now his skin is pretty much bulletproof. And the cool thing about that is he loves to fight, just like his soon-to-be best friend, Danny Rand Iron Fist. Danny Rand's family was into some very, very interesting things, like aliens, martial arts, and a crazy magic slash alien spirit that gives the wielder, or gives the person who bests it, incredible power. Danny did this, and eventually came to Earth, where he hooked up with Luke Cage, and the two of them have been beating up ninjas, supervillains, and anything in between for, I think, like the last 20 years. It's really, really cool. It's a really, really cool concept to think about. You got the two of them busting up like gangs in New York, then fighting ninjas, then moving on to this like alien-ish world where Luke and Danny have to put together a team of fighters, and defeat whoever is oppressing it at the time. It would just be like really cool to see that. Maybe it's just me wanting to see like a really, really big superhero, just straight up martial arts movie. But I guess that's me. Anyhow, the unique thing about the two of them is the fact that they're really just really good friends. You know? I mean, it's one thing for the two of them to get along during missions. It's another thing to get along, just from fighting, but to see a really, really a general, just really good friendship between the two of them is really amazing. If you guys like this video, like Nebula said, please like it, please comment, and tell me your top 5 superhero duos that you would like to see in the movies. Thank you guys for putting up with me and some of my stuttering. Hey, it's a little nerve-wracking to do this sometimes. Thank you. Bye-bye.